But interruption tips yet again. And this is a question for you. Can you ask Soytheist what he thinks about killing carnivorous animals? Is this something that you've spoken about on your channel? Because
Yeah,
people on my channel love talking about that.
I asked Jack Hancock about this.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. Yeah.
yeah, and he said that he can't argue against it. He said that he can't argue for not killing carnivorous animals, but he said that practically speaking, we shouldn't do it because it's very counterintuitive, and it would ultimately result in more suffering rather than less suffering.
Yeah.
And I
I
think I'd
mean,
agree.
yeah, like for me, like when I run down the logic tree, I'm like, oh, how am I able to argue with this? But yeah, practically, yeah, I think it looks really bad as well. Like, to people who aren't even vegan as well. I know that shouldn't always be considered necessarily like the optical framework. It's just like if they see us having those conversations, it's like, what the fuck, these people, like, you know what I mean? But yeah,
And
I think I know what you mean.
and there's also another argument that if you're going to kill carnivorous animals, you're also obligated to kill most human beings.
Yeah, that's the difficulty.
So again, if we can make the consistency argument, I think from both sides,
Mm,
um, that you'd not just be pro-choice. You'd not be pro-choice. You'd be the opposite of it, but not in the
hmm.
sort of anti-abortion kind of way, but in a sort of pro-forced abortion kind of way. You'd be obligated to have abortions, which is like the opposite of pro-choice, but in a different
Hmm.
direction. So I don't think
Hmm.
that that's a position that people are comfortable with. I think that people find that to be a ridiculous, absurd conclusion. So by reductio ad absurdum, I think that's again something that's not comfortable because most babies are going to
Yeah.
grow up to be non-vegans, and I
Hmm.
think I'm not sure, but it is probably the case that human beings eat more animals than lions.
Yeah,
Probably.
because as far as I'm aware, like predatory species, they often spend a lot of their time looking for an animal to kill. Never
And
mind.
they don't live as long.
No, they don't live exactly. They don't live as long, and we generally speaking, people who aren't vegan are sitting down, and they're eating sometimes multiple animals in a day. Like if they're eating like something like
Mm,
prawns,
mm,
your chickens, you can get through, quite a
mm,
lot of chickens or if they sit down and have like a 20-piece bucket of wings, that's
mm,
10 animals.
mm.
So yeah, like there is more happening with the humans. So yeah, it's a very difficult conversation for me. It's one of those ones I'm like, please no, I don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's one of those things that's like with veganism, it's like, well, I can directly participate in this here and now, and I
Mm-hmm.
will opt out. But then this one, it's like I feel like, oh, I can stay out of this because I'm not doing anything. But yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, thank you for the tip interruption, and thank you for entertaining that. We got another one, so thank you, Josie, for that. I will just play it. You won't hear it, but I will make sure that you can hear it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So because I said I'd turn on the alert box. So yeah, if we want a right to life for animals, then we should enforce that right the same way that we enforce it for humans. We went to wars and killed massive amounts of people to save other humans. Wouldn't this also apply in the animal context? Is the question. So the carnivorous question again. So they're not going to allow. They're not. They're taking every opportunity they can. Damn.
Um, I'm not sure I would look very kindly on the wars that we have had in the past.
No.
So, for example, people, I think, in the West generally think of these wars as like net good, but that's not how
Yeah.
people outside the West view them, right? For example, the Second World War, although like I know not even in the West people view it as like a great, amazing thing, obviously, but I do think that Japanese people would certainly have like an even more terrible memory of it, thanks to
Mm.
those nuclear bombs dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think that argument could be made the other way around. Like, look at what happened when we did kill so many people. So many people died who probably shouldn't have. Like, for example, the bomb on Hiroshima, people try to justify it by saying that it ended the war sooner. But then the bomb on Nagasaki, I don't think there could ever be a justification for that, because that was dropped like 3 days later. Um, so if you're going to say, like, look, we did that and that was a good thing, but I'm not sure if your premise is correct there. Maybe it wasn't a good thing, and maybe that's exactly why we shouldn't be killing these animals that you think you're making an argument for killing.
Mm-hmm. And I guess in wars, at least on, with the higher ups, there's consent for both to kind of have that war in the first place. They have this whole discussion about we're going to go to war, and but obviously the societies that have to deal with that, probably most of them don't want it, especially if it's happening on their soil. But yeah, that's quite a difficult question. I think I'm kind of with Soytheist on that one, and we've had another one.